We've talked a lot about retailers, but what about brands? Obviously, brands have retail presences, but maybe talk about how they're thinking through things. That's pretty interesting conversation.
There's things that are going to be solved by e-commerce providers, and there's things that are not going to be solved for e-commerce providers. So if you are, let's just take like a luxury brand, Cartier, or if you are BMW, right? You have an experience that you like care about, that your brand. And that is going to make you more likely to be very careful about your agentic commerce experience and only participate whenever that is done on your terms and your internal team or someone that you pay builds that experience for you. But if you are a brand that sells t-shirts, Crazy Dog t-shirts on Shopify, you don't have the budget to necessarily have like a Crazy Dog t-shirt AI shopping assistant and make it really custom and whatever it is, because you're doing $5 to $10 million a year in revenue. That's not going to move the needle for you. But if you're a brand that's doing a ton of volume already, even a 1% uplift from your shopping assistant or a third-party shopping assistant or a third-party commerce channel like ChatGPT is worth making that investment.
Gotcha. Coert, anything to add there?
We're really looking at the intersection or the customer journey and where the physical store experience fits into that, right? That's 85% of purchases happen in store. Well, what's interesting is 71% of purchases begin online, right? So people do research, and that's where I think, from a brand standpoint, it's really interesting, because if a brand is trying to drive a purchase, they don't necessarily, unless you go to their branded store, like a Cartier or BMW, you don't necessarily have full control of that loop, right? So if I go to a Macy's and I'm trying to buy a Cartier, I don't know if you can buy Cartiers at Macy's, but let's pretend you can. How do I show attribution to that? The online experience that started my research, maybe my curated agentic online experience, right? And then I was like, cool, I learned a whole bunch about Cartier. Now I go to Macy's and I buy the thing. It's hard to close that loop